joining me again for another night of Facebook Live. Also, I want to give thanks for those joining me on the replay from YouTube and or SoundCloud. Joining me tonight is my beautiful co-host, Miss Talia Jackson. She decided she wasn't going to bed tonight, so we'll see how tonight goes. Tonight we're going to pick up on our next topic in our series, suffering in silence as it relates to domestic issues tonight. Suffering in silence as it relates to domestic issues tonight. I do apologize. We were not able to go live on last night due to my server. Went out about 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and it did not come back on until sometime today. So I do apologize for that, but I do appreciate you guys that take out time and commit to joining me every night here at 10 o'clock p.m. because I do know that it is indeed a sacrifice to do that. So tonight, briefly, I just want to share with you and give you a voice, as always, about the things that we women usually suffer in silence. And so tonight we're addressing the issues related to domestic violence. And I have addressed domestic issues before on this platform. And so I've also shared with you during that time what several domestic issues look like. They're not only physical, but they're physical, they're sexual, they're emotional, they're verbal, they're financial. So all wide ranges of domestic issues and situations that we women tend to suffer in silence. It's not a conversation that we generally share openly. It's not a conversation that we're sharing with our young ladies that are growing up and establishing relationships. And so this therefore can be and is an ongoing generational issue that we are faced with. And the only way that we are going to break the chains and break the issues as they relate to domestic situations is that we're going to have to give it a voice, and we're going to have to talk about it. We're going to have to come together and unleash the shame associated with domestic issues and realize that it is more common than we're giving thought to when it comes to domestic situations. So I myself am not a victim of domestic issues. So there are some things relating to domestic abuse or domestic violations that I don't understand personally, because I have not experienced that on that level. But I do have people that I know and that I am close to that have lived in cycles of domestic issues. And so it kind of gives you a little insight of what it looks like. And so there may be people in domestic situations that you're really not aware of what that looks like. And the thing of it is, no matter how strong or confident a woman seems to look or appear, or how successful she portrays herself to be, she could still be a victim of domestic issues. She could be that woman that's suffering in silence. But there are also personalities as a result of domestic issues that tend to show up. And a lot of times we miss these signs because we just think, well, that's just who they are. That's who they are. So we have to be careful in how we interact with women. We have to be careful in the things we say and how we are so quick to judge one another, because we don't know who is living in situations of domestic abuse. We do not know. There's no certain way of what they look like, or there's no certain address that they're going to live in. So it's hard to pick it apart. And oftentimes, the only time we're aware that someone is in a domestic situation is when it becomes to the point of life and death. That means someone at that point is hanging on by a string, and it's dependent on their last breath that they get out and find a way to escape. Now, one thing that I know is that there are a lot of people that when they overcome their domestic issues, that they create platforms and nonprofits and things like that to help other women or help other people get out of situations, help them plan, help them find ways to transition, to move from those domestic situations. So that is what we all, in a sense, do. Just like my platform is educating you guys, making sure that you have a platform where someone's going to sit and give you the truth, and to share information with you that, you know, to give voice to those things that we sometimes even tend to keep silent from generation after generation. So what I'm doing is trying to give a voice to those things that we deal with. And that's my purpose. And my past led up to me living out my purpose. So when you see women who have been in domestic situations that can relate to domestic issues, and they can share with you how they got out, and share with you some of the emotional strings that they were tied to, and some of the things that they had to suffer through. They create nonprofits and other things to help other women. And so that is what it is, to use what you've been through as purpose. That's that purpose-driven life, things that you were called to do. Now, I always say that don't discount the experiences and the things that you've been through, because they are divinely connected to your purpose. And so I want to commend the men and or women out there, and mostly women that I know of across the globe, that are sharing their experiences of domestic issues and helping create a voice for other women to give them a voice, come out of the shame, come out of the darkness, come out of the stigmas, come out of the labels, and going from being a victim of that situation to being a victorious woman who could live a life of success and purpose. And so I commend you guys for those nonprofits that you're creating. I commend you guys for the programs that you are creating to help give people of domestic situations a voice, and also to share with them a way out of that situation. And I think that when we're in situations to where we're faced with domestic issues, a lot of times I feel like the victim just feels hopeless. And if we're not in their shoes, we cannot say, why don't they just get out? And this is where a lot of us on the outside looking in, we have to change that. Why they just don't get out. We don't know what kind of fear they're experiencing. We don't know what kind of state of mind they're in. And we should be less likely to judge someone in their situation just because we're not in that situation ourselves. We have to be sensitive. We have to listen to one another, and we have to move from being judgmental to being supportive and encouraging and helping find those resources so that when our young ladies are in these situations to where they find themselves in a place to where they feel like they cannot get out, that we have some solutions for them, and we can help create a plan, and we can help them be empowered enough to overcome and survive situations of domestic abuse and or violence. As you can see, I think I'm going to wrap it up tonight. I do appreciate you guys joining me tonight. I'll be back tomorrow for another night of suffering in silence. And tomorrow night I'll have a special guest with me, joining me via online. And so I look forward to meeting you back here tomorrow night at 10 o'clock as we're going to address another issue of where we suffer in silence, guys. I pray that you guys have found your voice. I pray that you guys are empowered and living out your purpose. And if you are a victim of domestic issues, please seek counsel with some trusted nonprofit or other trusted adult that can help you create your plan. And I pray that you stay safe and that you are empowered and encouraged during this time, as I know that the times we're living in heighten domestic situations, and it can be very difficult to live in. And I just know that you are not alone, that I am here standing with you, and if anything I can do to help you, please feel free to reach out. I love you guys, and I hope that you guys have a good night. I'll see you here again tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Thank you.